It was one of those scorching July afternoons when the sun seemed determined to pin everyone to the ground with its unrelenting heat. Families packed the community pool in suburban Ohio, kids splashing and laughing, parents stretched out on lounge chairs with sunscreen and cold drinks. The water shimmered like a sheet of glass every time the wind passed, and for a while, the chaos of summer felt joyful and safe. After all, there was a lifeguard perched high in the chair, scanning the pool. That watchful eye was the silent promise that no matter how wild things got, someone was looking out for them. Her name was Emily Carter, a 21-year-old college student home for the summer. She had been a lifeguard for 3 years, trained in CPR, rescue techniques, and crisis response. She wore the red swimsuit, the whistle, the sun visor, the uniform of authority. Parents trusted her, kids teased her, and most days passed without incident. But this day was different. Somewhere between the screaming laughter of children and the heat pressing down, Emily's phone buzzed. She had slipped it onto the arm of her chair, hidden under a towel, but like so many of us, she couldn't resist checking. A few messages from her group chat, a notification from Instagram, and one from her boyfriend that made her smile. She tapped out a quick reply, glancing down longer than she should have, believing she could multitask, believing nothing bad could happen in just a few seconds. But bad things don't wait for convenience. In the shallow end, a little boy named Jacob played with inflatable toys while his older sister floated nearby. He wasn't a strong swimmer, but he wasn't afraid either. He kicked and splashed, mimicking what he saw the older kids doing. His mother had her back turned, adjusting towels on the chairs. And in the chaos of splashing limbs and glittering sunlight, Jacob drifted farther toward the middle of the pool, where the slopes suddenly deepened. His feet lost contact with the floor. Panic set in. His arms flailed, his head bobbed under, and then again. But in the noise of the pool, no one seemed to notice. No one, except the girl across the way who screamed, "Somebody's under the water!" Heads turned. Parents gasped. Children stopped splashing. And suddenly, eyes shot toward the lifeguard chair. But Emily was still looking down at her phone. For 5 seconds, maybe 10. By the time she looked up, chaos had erupted. A man had already jumped into the pool, pulling Jacob up from the water, his tiny body limp, his face pale. Shouts filled the air. "He's not breathing!" As panic rippled through the crowd. Emily scrambled down, fumbling, heart pounding, rushing toward the scene. She began chest compressions, breaths, the steps she had been drilled to do. She tried, she fought, she cried as she worked. But the boy didn't respond. Paramedics arrived minutes later and took over, whisking Jacob away as his mother screamed in horror, collapsing into the arms of strangers. By evening, the news spread. Jacob had drowned. And within hours, whispers became accusations. Parents who had been at the pool replayed the moment in their minds, and many insisted the same thing. The lifeguard had been on her phone. They said she wasn't watching, that she failed her duty. Some swore they saw her scrolling while the boy went under. Others said even if she had been looking, drownings can happen in silence, in seconds, and no one could catch everything. But rumors are powerful, and by the next day, Emily's name was in headlines. Lifeguard on phone while child drowns. That was all it took. The community divided instantly. Some defended her, arguing that she was only human, that she had saved lives before. That blame should be shared by the parents who weren't watching their child. Others, fueled by grief and anger, demanded accountability, saying Emily had one job, to watch the water, and she failed. The law stepped in soon after. Prosecutors filed charges of negligence, arguing that Emily's inattention cost Jacob his life. In court, they showed phone records proving she had been texting during her shift. They played witness testimony, parents describing the horror of seeing their lifeguard looking down while tragedy unfolded behind her. They painted her as careless, distracted, unworthy of the responsibility entrusted to her. The defense countered with a different story. They argued that drowning is not what movies make it out to be. There are no dramatic cries for help, no thrashing arms above water. Most drownings are silent, quick, and invisible even to trained eyes. They brought in experts who testified that Jacob may have already been under by the time Emily looked up, that even the best lifeguard cannot catch every single danger in a crowded pool. They reminded the jury she was young, dedicated, and devastated by the loss. They insisted she was guilty of being human, not of being criminal. The courtroom became a stage for larger questions. Should one distracted glance mean prison for a lifeguard? Should parents bear more responsibility for their own children near water? Or does the role of a lifeguard demand near superhuman vigilance, with no room for error? Meanwhile, Emily sat through the trial in silence, her eyes hollow. She replayed the moment in her head over and over. If she had looked up 5 seconds earlier, would Jacob still be alive? She thought about his mother's screams, the boy's face, the way the crowd looked at her like she was a monster. She thought about her own younger brother. And what if it had been him? The guilt weighed heavier than any sentence could. When the jury deliberated, the community waited with bated breath. Was she guilty of negligence so severe it became a crime? Or just another person caught in the unforgiving truth that tragedy can happen in seconds? The verdict came down, but like most verdicts in stories like this, it satisfied no one. Some felt justice had been served. Others felt she had been scapegoated for an accident no one could fully prevent. And Emily? No matter the outcome, her life would never be the same. She would forever be the lifeguard who was looking at her phone when a boy drowned. And so the question remains, was this a crime? Or was this a tragic reminder of how fragile life is, how seconds can change everything, and how one mistake, just one, can echo forever? Was Emily Carter guilty of negligence, or simply human? Guilty or not? For more chilling true crime cases, subscribe to our channel, Guilty or Not.